My ex made me feel alive, but you only make me feel safe.
Safe?
Yes, safe isn't enough. I want to feel alive again. What are you saying?
Go. Then go.
Go where?
Go be his problem again.
On the west side of Chicago, where the train tracks rattled old apartment windows through the night, a man named Marcus Holloway believed hard work could hold a family together. At 44 years old, Marcus carried the weight of diesel engines and broken transmissions on his back every day at one of the largest auto shops in the city. His hands stayed stained with grease no matter how hard he scrubbed them clean. But every evening, one small voice calling him Dad made the pain worth carrying. His son, Isaiah, still looked at him like heroes were real. And for a long time, Marcus thought that was enough to keep darkness outside his front door. Then came that cold Thursday in late February. Rain hammered the streets all afternoon while Marcus spent 10 straight hours rebuilding a flooded Cadillac engine. By the time he finally dragged himself home, exhaustion sat heavy in his bones like wet cement. All he wanted was hot food, silence, and sleep. Instead, he walked into a kitchen filled with tension thick enough to choke on. His wife, Simone, stood near the sink holding a glass of wine with both hands like it was the only thing keeping her upright. She never greeted him, never asked about his day, never even looked his way. The bottle beside her was nearly empty, and the clock had barely struck 6. Then she spoke one name that instantly turned the room colder. Darius called. Marcus froze where he stood. Darius Reed. The old college boyfriend. The smooth-talking dreamer Simone once claimed shattered her heart before Marcus ever entered her life. The man whose name had disappeared from conversations for over a decade. Marcus tried to keep his voice calm. What did he want? Simone finally turned around. There was no guilt in her face. No fear either. Only distance. He moved back to Chicago, she said softly. Opened a lounge downtown near the river. He asked to see me. Marcus felt something shift inside his chest. Not anger at first. Something heavier. Something final. And? He asked. Simone lifted the wine glass slowly. I'm going. The words hit harder than any punch Marcus had ever taken. Work boots still dripping rainwater onto the kitchen floor, he stared at the woman he had spent 13 years building a life beside. Their son was upstairs doing multiplication homework while his marriage cracked apart downstairs. Simone looked directly into Marcus's eyes. With you, life feels safe, she whispered. But with Darius, life feels alive. Alive. That single word cut deeper than betrayal itself. As if all the years Marcus spent sacrificing sleep, working double shifts, coaching Little League, fixing leaking pipes, and holding the family together were somehow meaningless. As if stability was a punishment instead of love. Marcus stood silent for several seconds. Then something inside him finally broke loose. Then go, he said quietly. If that man makes life feel so alive, go be his burden again. Simone blinked hard, clearly expecting pleading instead of permission. But Marcus walked straight past her toward the hallway. No yelling. No begging. Just exhaustion wrapped in disappointment. The shower lasted almost half an hour. Scalding water poured over Marcus while Simone's words echoed endlessly in his skull. Alive. Like 13 years together had only been rehearsal for another man. When Marcus finally stepped back into the hallway, the house had gone silent. Too silent. Upstairs, Isaiah sat alone at his desk sharpening a pencil. The little boy looked up with nervous eyes. Mom said she's leaving for a few days. Marcus swallowed hard. She say where? Isaiah shook his head slowly. She had a suitcase. Downstairs, half the closet stood empty. Simone's favorite boots were gone. Her laptop charger. Her perfume. Even the coffee mug she used every morning had disappeared from the cabinet. But one thing remained behind on the bathroom counter. Her wedding ring. Marcus picked it up carefully. Years earlier, he had worked overtime for nearly 7 months to afford that ring. They married in a tiny church outside Milwaukee with folding chairs and homemade decorations. Simone cried when he slipped the ring onto her finger. Called it the happiest day of her life. Now it rested cold against marble like something forgotten. Moments later, Marcus received a message from Simone's sister, Denise. Simone isn't here. Thought she was with you. The truth landed immediately. Simone had lied to everybody. Marcus opened the location app connected to their shared phones. One glowing dot blinked downtown near the riverfront. Darius's lounge. She never waited until tomorrow. Never waited a week. The moment Marcus gave her the door, she ran straight through it. That night, Marcus cooked Isaiah's favorite macaroni while pretending nothing was wrong. The boy barely touched his food. Children always hear heartbreak before adults admit it exists. 3 days crawled by. Simone's calls flooded Marcus's phone non-stop until he finally blocked her number completely. The garage became his hiding place from grief. Engines were simpler than people. Broken parts could be replaced. Betrayal stayed welded into the chest forever. Then came a call from Marcus's uncle, Elijah, down in Detroit. The old man sounded weak. Doctors had found cancer deep inside his body, already spreading fast. Maybe months left. Maybe weeks. Before hanging up, Elijah told Marcus something unexpected. "There's 70,000 set aside for you and Isaiah," the old man said. "Use it wisely, and stop letting people drain the goodness out of you." Marcus sat motionless after the call ended. That money could erase debts, secure Isaiah's future, maybe even buy peace for once. But peace never stays long when greed catches its scent. The very next afternoon, a mysterious envelope arrived at the auto shop. Inside sat a photograph. Simone laughing inside Darius's lounge while his arm wrapped tightly around her shoulders. Timestamp near midnight. The exact night she abandoned her family. Marcus stared at the image until numbness replaced pain. That evening, he finally answered Simone's call. Her voice cracked with desperation. "Please let this be fixed." Marcus asked only one question. "Were those 13 years real to you?" Silence filled the line so long it became answer enough. Then Marcus hung up. The next morning, Marcus met with a divorce attorney named Calvin Brooks. A sharp-eyed man who spoke like somebody already tired of human lies. After hearing everything, Calvin warned Marcus about custody battles, missing money, and hidden manipulation. Then came one painful question. "Has anyone ever confirmed Isaiah is biologically yours?" Marcus nearly walked out right there. Still, fear forced caution. A DNA test arrived days later in a plain envelope. Marcus hated himself while collecting the sample. Isaiah laughed during the swab process, completely unaware of the storm around him. When the results returned, Marcus sat alone inside his truck reading the words repeatedly. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. But before relief could settle in, another disaster surfaced. Darius called unexpectedly one rainy afternoon. His voice carried anger this time instead of confidence. "Your wife robbed me," he snapped. "She took cash from my office, stole jewelry, and vanished." Then came the worst revelation of all. Simone had discovered the inheritance. She planned to crawl back home before the money arrived so she could claim half during divorce proceedings. Every apology, every desperate voicemail, every tear. Nothing but strategy dressed up as regret. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. Before he could even process the betrayal, another nightmare arrived. One Friday morning, Isaiah disappeared. His bed sat empty beside a handwritten note. "Gone to find Mom." Panic ripped through Marcus like wildfire. Hours later, police found the boy sitting alone at a downtown bus station clutching piggy bank money inside a backpack. Isaiah collapsed into his father's arms crying, "I just wanted our family back." Those words nearly shattered Marcus completely. Children always believe love can repair what adults destroy. Driving home that day, Marcus realized lies could no longer protect the boy. Some truths arrived too heavy to hide forever. Then fate struck Simone harder than any courtroom ever could. A semi-truck smashed into her car outside Indianapolis during a thunderstorm. Broken bones. Internal bleeding. Months of rehabilitation ahead. When Marcus saw her hospital bed surrounded by machines, he felt only emptiness where love once lived. Weeks later, Simone appeared at Isaiah's baseball game in a wheelchair, tears filling her eyes while begging Marcus for another chance. Parents nearby pretended not to listen while hearing every word. Marcus stood tall beneath the afternoon sun. You stole from everybody who loved you, he said calmly. You only came back because you smelled money. Her face collapsed as the truth echoed across the field. The final blow came during divorce court. Marcus's attorney played recordings proving Simone planned reconciliation only to secure part of the inheritance. The courtroom fell silent, listening to greed expose itself. By the end of the hearing, Marcus received full custody of Isaiah, the family home, and complete protection over the inheritance. Simone left the courthouse with supervised visitation rights and mountains of debt. The judge's gavel sounded like chains finally breaking loose. Almost a year later, Marcus sat beneath fading sunset skies while Isaiah practiced baseball with friends across the park. Life looked smaller now, quieter too, but peace had finally returned to the Holloway name. The inheritance funded Isaiah's future instead of somebody else's scheme. And for the first time in years, Marcus no longer walked through life afraid of losing people who never truly valued him. Because some folks mistake safety for weakness, until the safe place they betrayed becomes the very thing they can never return to again.